Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Welcome and thank you for stopping by. It is fantastic you are here. Well, I trust you appreciated my last video from the Cranberries. And certainly through the song Dreams, we talked about the fact that can we trust ourselves with love? And sometimes love kind of takes us over because that's the power of it. And if you are finding yourself in a situation where, yes, I am in a really good thing, give yourself completely to it, that is for sure. Well, we're going from there to an iconic Australian band today. But the story started in 1973 in Auckland, New Zealand, when the band Split Enz was formed. Now, Split Enz, when you think about Split Enz, you think about Tim Finn and Neil Finn. These guys are just incredible songwriters, vocalists, multi-instrumentalists, the whole thing. They're the all-round package. Now, Split Enz were renowned for their zany costumes, their makeup, but an incredible creativity. But despite all that, there was some very, very deep lyrics in there as well. There was a lot of depth in their lyrics, that is for sure. Neil Finn joined in 1977, and between 1975 and 1984 they actually released 10 albums at Split Enz, 8 of which Neil was part of. And in 2005 they were inducted into the ARIA Hall of Fame, which is the Australian Record Industry Association, which is an incredible high honour indeed. So we get to so Split Enz was finishing up, and Neil thought, well, what's going to happen next? And he spoke to his mate Paul Hester at the time, and the two of them, together with Nick Seymour, who is the brother of Mark Seymour, who was the lead singer of Hunters and Collectors, decided to get together and form Crowded House in 1985. Now, between 1985 and 1993, they released 4 studio albums, and we thought that was it. But through some circumstances, which I'll get onto in a minute, went through 2007, and looks like 2021, where another album's coming out, 3 more albums. So there's 7 albums in total, and there are 33 singles in that. People that have joined, we've got Mark Hart, who was certainly there for the Farewell to the World concert at the Sydney Opera House, and we got Nick Sherrod a little bit later on. And as at 2010, they have sold 10 million albums, and there's 33 singles in amongst those albums. They have received 31 awards, mainly ARIA and APRA awards. There's also been awards in New Zealand. And Neil Finn has released 9 solo albums in his own right, and his brother Tim has done similar. In fact, I think they got together at one point and did an album together. Now, Crowded House, so much on the Danish side, I think Crowded House gave Neil Finn, as the predominant songwriter, a vehicle to really be able to express himself with really quite well-crafted, incredible songs. When you think about Crowded House, I can't think of a genre these guys fit into, because there's just something quite unique about them, I'm thinking. There's a few, but the Crowded House journey is an interesting one, and I thought I'd just go through a little bit of it today. In 1996, they did the Farewell to the World tour, and one of the concerts was 100,000 people at the Sydney Opera House. This is one of the biggest gatherings for a concert in Australia's history. And, Neil getting Tim back for a couple of bits and all of them there. It was just a really, really incredible concert. I've got a DVD of it, and it's really quite amazing. And so that happened in 1996. And we thought that was it for Crowded House. But then in 2005, the tragic death of Paul Hester. It absolutely rocked Australia, this death. Paul was such an energetic, zany kind of character. He was the clown very much with Crowded House, and to see his tragic death in 2005 really rocked the music scene in Adelaide. Paul was involved a little bit with the Wiggles for a while, doing some stuff with them, and he had a bit of a TV show as well. So he was a very much loved character in Australia, but he tragically died in 2005. This obviously rocked Neil Finn in particular, in fact the world, and so in 2005 he sang solo at the ARIA Awards, one of the Crowded House's classics, Better Be Home Soon. It's him and his guitar in front of all those people, and he only just held it together for that particular performance. It was such a classic, a perfect song to sing in Paul's honour. So there was now unfinished business with Crowded House, and so it was decided that Crowded House would get back together, and after an extensive search, because you never can really replace Paul Hester, they decided they found Nick Sherrod who would take over the drums for Crowded House. Then in 2007 out came the album Victory. And one of my most favourite songs, the album was Time on Earth, I should say. What I found particularly good about this particular album, and one song in particular, Don't Stop Now, is this is Crowded House recovering from what has happened, and actually there is victory in this album, that is for sure, while at the same time acknowledging that life can be a bit fleeting and we never really know where the world is going to go. And then in 2018, Neil joined Fleetwood Mac, and one of the songs that Fleetwood Mac sings is the iconic Crowded House song Don't Dream It's Over. So cool to hear Stevie Nicks singing a verse of that song. But let's go back to the song Don't Stop Now. Now, I'm not Neil Finn, but what I'm thinking is we had such a creative burst with Crowded House, and then to see the death of a mate the way it happened absolutely rocked him. And one of the lines in Don't Stop Now is, give me something to write about. Don't stop now, give me something to write about. There's just no inspiration. I'm dried up here, but I want to write something. And this is often what can happen in this world. We have these really spurts of inspiration and we think, wow, this is pretty cool. Then something happens and it all kind of dries up. The well runs dry, in essence. And for someone like Neil Finn, he doesn't have a well that runs dry. He just doesn't, but it ran dry for him. How do we pull ourselves out of these times when we think, oh my goodness, I don't even know how to feel right now? Well, I'm thinking perhaps what happens is we just see some little spark and we think, oh, instead of letting it go by, we catch it, we hold it, we reflect on it and see where it can happen. Because sometimes in life we're waiting for the big lightning bolt to come from the sky and to drag us along. I don't think it works like that. I think recovery happens in small space, small bits, small things that come our way. We catch them and we think, okay, maybe there's something I can work on here. I miss my mate terribly. I'm so sad this is what's happened. And maybe out of respect for him and by paying tribute to him, there can be something again. I think the last thing Paul would have wanted was to be for things just to finish and for things not to carry on in some way. And I think Neil Finn found the song in Don't Stop Now to pay tribute to not only Paul, but his own musical journey. First of all with Split Ends, and now with Crowded House and his own solo right, he was able to find his way. And so I think the challenge of the Crowded House story very much is when you go from 100,000 people watching you at the Opera House to Crowded House finishing up, that would have been a bit of a shock to the system. I'm thinking that, sometimes we find our way in other ways. and sometimes we find our ways in ways that are unexpected at times. This is the encouragement we can take from the Crowded House story today, I'm thinking. Because when you watch Don't Stop Now, there is something victorious about this song. This song is a little bit upbeat for Neil Finn, even though he does do pretty upbeat stuff, but this is something a bit strong about this song, this victoriousness in this song. Neil is singing with such confidence, and he's added a few musos extra to just make the Crowded House sound even bigger. That is for sure. Most people would give up, but Neil has kept it going, and Australia loves him for it. He's an icon of the Australian music industry, and we love him dearly in this country. To make the Crowded House story, if you're facing this kind of dryness at the moment, look for the sparks of inspiration when they come and hold on to them. Well, I trust that will be an encouragement for you today. Well, on to the clips, and I thought, even though Don't Stop Now is the focus, I thought we'd do these songs in a particular order to capture the Crowded House story a little bit. We've first of all got Fall at Your Feet. This is from the iconic Sydney Opera House concert of 1996. This album came off 1991 album Woodface. I love this song. It really is quite a stunning song, this one. This Crowded House is absolutely brilliant. Best. The songwriting does not get much better, I am thinking, than this song. Interesting expose just into love and uncovering the mystery of it. As I mentioned, we then got the live solo performance to Paul. This was done at an ARIA Awards evening. Better Be Home Soon. This came off the 1998 album Temple of Low Men, and this is just Neil and his guitar singing Better Be Home Soon as a tribute to his mate Paul Hester. We then got to go forward to 2007 with Time on Earth and the song I've been talking about, Don't Stop Now. This is one of my favourite songs of really, it doesn't get much better than this for me. Such victorious lyrics, such incredible positivity in this song, and Neil is just really passionately getting into this song and bringing his band along with him, which is now one or two bigger than when it was just the four of them back in 1996. This is a stunning song, guys. It really, really is, and it's a live version of that one. And I talked about Fleetwood Mac and Neil becoming part of them. And it's such an iconic band really in the world, Fleetwood Mac. And to do one of your songs at one of their concerts is an absolute honour and privilege. And to hear Stevie Nicks sing one of the verses is absolutely amazing. Don't Dream It Over is just one of the best Crowded House songs, really. Used, so many people know this song. It's an absolutely beautiful song, as Mick Fleetwood talks about at the beginning of this clip. It's just a song the world knows, and it's a song that the world has resonated with. Originally came off the 1986 album Crowded House, which was their first album, and this is the live version. Really, it's absolute live. It's just a guy with footage at the front recording this. But you see Neil Finn, you see the introduction, you see Stevie Nicks actually doing a bit as well. So those four links to those four songs are in the description below for you to have a look at. And I've also included my last video on the Cranberries, so if you want to recap on that one, feel free. Well, if you have come back for another video, great of you to do so. If this is your first time to Live Reflections Through Music, thank you everybody for hanging around to the end. We love that kind of engagement. Well, that's it for today. Next time we're going to go on to American singer-songwriter Dave Crowder and his band Crowder. So until then, I'll catch you around.